Recently, a video was brought to my attention concerning prayer in the Quran. After viewing, I believe this is a perfect opportunity to discuss the syncretism found in the religions of man today. In this video, Jay Smith, a professed Christian, and an unknown Islamist are debating at Speaker's Corner in the UK. The question was asked, how did Muslims get 5 prayers?
Very good. Very good. I heard a story from someone and I got confused. Excellent. Could you explain the story, please? Yes, I will explain to you, and very briefly. Thank you. Literally, all the prophets who they came to ask people to worship God. Solomon, David, Moses, Zachariah, all the prophets, they worship God. They bow down and they worship Him. It used to be only 2 times, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. And then after that,
how many prayers in the Quran?
What are these 5 prayers?
How many prayers are there in the Quran? 5 prayers?
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't.
How many prayers are there in the Quran?
No, it doesn't say. It doesn't say.
Notice the Islamist states prayer times are not found in the Quran. Islamists follow the teachings found in Hadith, books written over 200 years after the time of Prophet Muhammad. During the time of Prophet Muhammad, a Hebrew text of the Torah Tanakh was unavailable. The majority were destroyed and lost during the second destruction of the temple in 70 AD. The only available text of the Torah Tanakh were in Koine Greek until the 7th to 10th centuries, when the Masorite Jews translated the Septuagint to Hebrew. There are 4 prayer periods spoken of in the Quran, of which one is supererogatory, more than expected. These periods of prayer are discussed in detail in the Quran: morning, midday, evening, and night.
6 times it talks about Salah in the Quran. Tell the people.
The Quran talks about prayer quite a bit. The word Salah is found at least 70 times at my count.
Look at the Quran, you only see 3 prayers. In the morning, in the noon, and in the evening. Who prays 3 times a day? The Jews. The Jews pray 3 times a day.
According to the Bible, Moses, Salamun alayhi, did not teach times for prayer. There are numerous examples of the prayer times found in the Bible, but there were only 2 sacrifices required of Moses, and they were in the morning and evening. The word prayer is not mentioned at all. However, there are examples of sacrifices and prayers in the Bible that match the periods of time given in the Quran. There are also examples for the preparation and practice of Salah in the previous books. We even have examples of positions of prayer given in the Bible. But one position is emphasized by Allah in the Quran that can also be found in the previous books. It's prostration, the position that demonstrates our humility and servitude to our Creator. The question remains, where do they get the 5 prayers from? From the Jews, Orthodox Yahudians. In the book To Pray as a Jew, a guide to the prayer book in the synagogue service by Rabbi Hayam Halvey Donen, we find not only the 5 prayer times, but also the foundation for the memorized phrases as well. 19 ritualized prayers according to Rabbi Donen's book, found on page 74 to 75. The 5 times for prayer are found on pages 337 to 341, divided between morning, noon, and night, as taught in the Talmud. This is not the Torah or the Tanakh, also known as the Old Testament or Hebrew Bible. Where did the Yahudians get their prayer times? According to Rabbi Donen, they were fixed by Ezra in the Great Assembly after their exile in Babylon. He even states the times were set to correspond with the times of service in the temple. An outline of their prayer times is found on page 68. These times were incorporated from the Zoroastrian Gah, namaz taught during their exile in Babylon. Zoroastrian Magi adopted the Kabbalist esoteric teachings into their doctrine, incorporating the 5 equinoxes of Venus and Earth into namaz prayer. Homage to the 5-pointed star, syncretism. The same periods of time the Islamists pray and the Orthodox Yahudians pray is the same as the Zoroastrians pray. These periods of prayer are found in the Zoroastrian Avesta and still taught by Zoroastrians today. It is worth noting, in the Arthur H. Bleek translation of the Avesta, he details in the Excursus appendix the similarities between Zoroastrian practice and Freemasonry. These teachings were adopted by the Pharisees, Persian Yahudians who follow the Babylonian Talmud. Pharisee, derived from the word Farsi, the language of Persia, were the Orthodox Jews who were condemned by the Messiah, Salamun alayhi, in the Gospel accounts, for following traditions beside what Allah revealed. Just as the Yahud required to cover the head, so too do the Islamists. Is it any surprise this is required by the Zoroastrians as well? Polytheists cannot understand Allah did not teach namaz, pagan prayer. When asked, where do you find the number of rakats in the Quran? I respond, you cannot. Allah did not teach mankind to pray as a polytheist. When asked, where does it teach prayer in the Quran? Not only are believers able to provide the periods for prayer, we can show them every aspect of prayer required of us. In the Quran, we find repeated commands to remember and glorify Allah in the morning and evening.
Muhammad that tells them to pray. You better pray because it's Bukhari that gives you 5 prayers. It's all Bukhari that tells you to pray 5 times a day.
Where was Muhammad al-Bukhari from? Bukhara, Persia, what is now known as Uzbekistan, north of Iran. Muhammad al-Bukhari was a Sunni Islamic scholar of Persian descent. Persia, which hosted the Zoroastrian Magi and Pharisees.
Most of what we know of Islam today, it does not come from the Quran. It comes from the Hadith. Did you hear what I said? No, I want to ask the Christians, what direction can we pray? Any direction.
What Christians fail to realize, their Qibla is found in the Bible. The Qibla being Masjid Al-Aqsa, the Temple of Solomon, the Temple of the Bani Israel. Even Daniel, Salamun alayhi, faced Jerusalem. Allah speaks of the temple repeatedly in the Quran, and it is the precincts that are blessed, not just the small building that remains today after the second destruction of the temple. The Satans are there to lead people astray with varnished words and idle tales. They will be given their reward on the day of judgment. Prayer is not a ritual prescribed as a checklist to righteousness. It is a time of study and supplication, where we recite the Quran and glorify our Creator, remembering Him, giving thanks for what He provides, and asking for His protection, so we uphold the covenant we took when we became believers, Muslims with faith in our heart. J. Smith states a Christian can pray as many times a day as they want. The question that begs asking is, do they? As a revert to Al-Islam from Christianity, I can say that the actions speak louder than words. Faith without works is dead. To them are their deeds, and to me are mine. On the day of judgment, we will find who was rightly guided and who was led astray. The Quran is an explanation of all things. Study the Quran diligently and do not depend on my opinion. May Allah increase the believers in knowledge. May Allah bless and reward our efforts. Peace and blessings.